Good morning. Well, good evening, depending on where you're at. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a really fun segment. And to my super chat, thank you so very much. You give me every incentive to rock these live streams. To my viewers in other countries who are watching, thank you. Thank you for watching this channel and for supporting my voice. Please tell your friends about this YouTube channel. There's no evidence of anything. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? There's no evidence of anything, not one shred. Isn't that funny? Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that, oh, maybe Madam Secretary lost on her own. That tells you that maybe President Trump won fair and square, didn't need to work with any foreign nation, and they wasted $1.2 billion. And what else? What else does that tell you? Well, President Trump was set up and framed. So there is no evidence. There is now they're going after his tax returns. And it's like, it never ends. It never, ever, ever, ever ends. Aiden Brennan, hello. Good morning. It never ends, ladies and gentlemen. It never ends. It is a continual charade. And they haven't stopped. They won't stop. Now they're going after his tax returns, which is an investigation into nothing also. The IRS already has his tax returns. The U.S. government, it's interesting, too. They're trying to say, well, his his decisions are influenced by, for monetary reasons, when literally money flowed into the Clinton Foundation, and then the same Russian company that was owned by Putin eventually, that gave money to the Clinton Foundation, got 20% of U.S. uranium capacity, and there's no dots to connect there. None. There are no dots. Do you understand? Do not connect any dots. Hillary Clinton was on the Committee on Foreign Investment. You cannot bring it up. Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin at his home. Who knows how much vodka and, caviar he had, which sounds great, actually. Sounds amazing. But you can't connect any dots, don't you understand? Don't connect any dots, okay? Which is like overt. It's an overt pay-to-play scheme. We're talking UBS giving money, and then they're hooked up by Madam Secretary. Boeing, weapons deals. 85 donors give $156 million. And Robert Clausen, I agree with you. I mean, we all win when they're moving to his taxes. ACUR, hello. Thank you for always being a great moderator. ACUR, thank you. So, I mean, what more has to happen? When has a political figure been so spied upon, surveilled, and come out with Clinton actually does engage. Both Clintons did engage in criminal or unethical behavior. And then their investigations result in, what is we don't, she didn't mean to violate the law, but she did. So their scandals are different. They're investigated, quote unquote, investigated, not really. And then they kind of, squirm or weasel their way or, slither out of the scandal. But really, it doesn't really amount to, they're not exonerated. The Democrats, jump up and down and they say, another investigation, nothing. No, Benghazi was incompetence. It was based on incompetence. People asked for, the ambassador Ambassador Stevens asked for protection, security, countless times. Scotty Sachs, thank you. Scotty Sachs, thank you. But here we get to Senate Intelligence Chairman, no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Politico, Senate Intel Chairman, we don't have anything to prove collusion between Trump and Russia. This is the Hill, the Republican chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, which apparently they're not very intelligent, and there is no intelligence there. Thursday said his panel has still found no evidence to suggest that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia during the 2016 election. That means like Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, everything. Well, Stone wasn't really a part of the campaign, but General Michael Flynn, who's an honorable man, Papadopoulos, nobody colluded. Carter Page, nobody colluded. Nobody colluded. Okay, there was no collusion. There was no collusion. There was no collusion. Scotty Sachs, thank you. Thank you, Scotty. There was no collusion, ladies and gentlemen. Do you understand? There was no collusion. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. The notion, and I will say it every segment, and the notion that Trump would work with Russia to hack the DNC to inform the country that Democrats cheated Bernie Sanders is the most absurd notion. It's ludicrous. It's devoid of any logic. There is no logic to it. It's mind-boggling. But millions of Americans believe it because they want to believe, not because they're duped. I mean, they are duped, but they're not. They're willing to be deceived. They want to be deceived. It's like you have this husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend. You continually make them dinner and they stand you up. Oh, honey, I'm not coming home. I'm having drinks with the friends. What? But I made you dinner. One night. Okay, that's bad enough. That's bad. One night is even bad. But like 10, 12, 13 nights, in a row. But I made you dinner. Oh, And then you still tell yourself, oh, that person really cares about me. That's the Democratic Party, except they want to believe. They want to believe. They want to believe in a myth because they suddenly have so much. Exactly, ACUR. There was collusion. It was Hillary and Russia. Uranium One, absolutely. But they have so much reverence for the intelligence community that actually colluded with Clinton and technically colluded with Russia through the Steele dossier. Isn't it interesting how the FBI uses a dossier that was compiled by Russian intelligence? One of the people who presided, who gave information to the dossier, was said to be a Russian intel officer, and they're all like Russian citizens, people close to Putin, all this stuff. Allegedly, it's all a bunch of gossip and nonsense. It's a fantasy world. If you read it, it's like, yeah, Manafort, and it's like Christopher Steele was on acid and he wrote it, and it sounds like, yeah, and they were working with Russia, and they really hated Hillary and Papadopoulos and Gates and Manafort, and a lot of bad people in Trump's campaign worked with Russia because they really feared and hated Hillary. Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. That is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. And then 4 months ago, Senate Intel Chairman Burr says there's no evidence of collusion. Okay, 1 year ago, Senate panel offers no concrete evidence on Russia collusion. So you can, if you type in collusion Senate, you'll get two different back-to-back Fox News segments. Senate Intel Chairman Burr said there's no evidence of collusion. That's 4 months ago. Senate panel offers no concrete evidence on Russia collusion 1 year ago. And now today, literally every 5 to 6 months, there's a segment that there's an admission. Oh yeah, well there's no Nothing happened. Senator Richard Burr told CBS News on Thursday that based on the evidence his committee has seen so far, there's no reason to suggest that members of the Trump campaign and the Russian government were working together during the election. So that's it. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. And now what are they going to do? I mean, if there's no evidence of Trump Russia, they're going to go after his tax returns. They're not going to find anything there. Even if he did work with, even if he did have business dealings in Russia, what does that have? You, like I said, Uranium One, there was an FBI informant, William D. Campbell, and who stated that the Russians were bragging about their influence over the Clintons and Obama. So it's unbelievable how media and failed intel chiefs who allowed top secret intelligence to be transferred outside of the United States government. It's unbelievable how these people would plunge the nation into 2 years of chaos. They would plunge this country into 2 years only to save face, only for hubris, only for ego. You're talking about not just narcissism, you're talking about corruption at a grand scale to foment another Cold War, to foment a Cold War. Although there, and then I'm going to read this although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. This is James Comey. It was never his judgment. That's why he got fired. He had no right to pretend that he was the Department of Justice. Loretta Lynch should have made the call, and she should have asked for the evidence, regardless of what Comey stated. But of course, she met with Bill Clinton to speak about golf, Brexit, and grandchildren on a plane in Phoenix. This was before Madam Secretary was interviewed. The level of corruption is beyond belief, and it's happening right in front of everybody. And the media doesn't care. The media doesn't care. And they look at Trump, like the fact checking of Trump during the speech was so petulant. It wasn't about fact checking. It was about, the most just petulant behavior. Oh, you know what? It was really this. It was like they didn't disprove anything he said. They found the most minor, insignificant nuance to say, well, that's not true. Lie. If they did the same thing to Obama and Clinton, it would be like game over. Senate intel, we don't have any collusion anything to prove collusion. No evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. Senate intel chair sees no evidence of collusion. This is The Hill, Politico, AOL. I mean, it's like Associated Press. There's no collusion, okay? You spent 2 years. You spent 2 years destroying people's lives. You spent 2 years plunging the country. And you found nothing. But the media just continues and doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It just continues. So today, for example, they're going after his tax returns, which is like, what do you expect to find? You expect to find a litany of pay-to-play schemes? So it's like, What do they expect to find with Trump's taxes? What on earth do they expect to find? He sold weapons to the Ukraine. Obama did not. Okay, what Obama pressed on many fronts to arm Ukraine. He didn't. He didn't. Trump administration approves lethal arms to sales to Ukraine. He did. Trump did. Obama didn't. You know, like what do you want? What more are you going to find out? He was more hawkish. The Yahtzee! Rock on, HA. Thank you, the Yahtzee. The Yahtzee. I hope all is well. Thank you. This is going to be the Yahtzee, a really, really interesting interesting year. William Barr was confirmed today. So you have William Barr confirmation. You have, well, he's the official vote in the Senate is going to be like next week or the week after. And you're finally going to have a Department of Justice that actually looks at ongoing, because there are ongoing FBI probes right now. I think what this last 2 years was, and I could be wrong, but I think it was just get as much dirt and insults and phony investigations and fabricated probes, get them out, try to disparage Trump in any way possible, because the intel chiefs like Clapper and Brennan and Comey, they tried to set him up. They failed. They found nothing. They fabricated everything. There was no evidence of Trump Russia. They had nothing. Clinton, there was evidence that she transferred top secret and special access program intelligence outside of the United States government. And they know, I'm hoping, they know that William Barr is a different ballgame. They had 2 years. They were able to buy 2 years. So they bought 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, they got 2 years. Do you understand? They got 2 years of just a free-for-all. They got 2 years of just, Trump worked with Russia and this and that and Russia. And oh my God, yet another indictment. Oh, great. It's finally happening. They got 2 years of trying to manipulate and trying to paint Trump as this corrupt individual, when in reality, if you were to look at any investigation into Clinton's actual criminal behavior, you would find not only that Clinton would get indicted, because she'll get indicted eventually. Hillary Clinton will eventually be indicted, because she committed crimes. Because, like I keep reading, although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring the case. The fact that he would bring his judgment in there is proof of a conspiracy. The FBI doesn't do anything to help people they investigate. To the contrary, what they want to do is get any possible, they want to find any possible way to indict. Any possible way. They're fanatics when it comes to that. So I'm going to add this also. For example, 7 email chains concerning matters that were classified at the top secret special access program level when they were sent and received. These chains involve Secretary Clinton both sending emails about those matters and receiving emails from others about the same matters. There is evidence to support the conclusion that any reasonable person in Secretary Clinton's position or in the position of those government employees with whom she was corresponding about these matters should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation. Yeah. And then when people are like, HA, indictments are imminent, huh? It's like, why are you doubling down and bolstering the fact that she committed crimes? You are doing everything possible. When a person tries to diss me, they diss themselves. when they say, oh, indictments are imminent, like, well, they were imminent. Actually, James Baker, the FBI legal counsel, stated that. She transferred top secret intel, but that didn't happen. Yeah, it's called a cover up. What do you want from my life? I'm not Nostradamus. I just have the pulse of what's going on. What do you want from my life? It didn't happen. Ah. Yeah, it didn't happen because she's corrupt and she committed crimes and Trump did not. So what do you want from me? You know, it's like people don't get it. But the what he did, James Comey, is he actually gave enough information for Clinton to get indicted, for them to say, oh well, oh well, the FBI did find it. Yeah, how did she transfer the top secret and special access program intelligence? It's beyond top secret. For example, 7 email chains concerning matters that were classified at top secret special access program level when they were sent and received, meaning how did she transfer it? Okay, so how did she transfer it? That's the question. That's the question. Who gave her the ability to access this information and transfer the information? And they're worried about tax returns from Trump. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, they have nothing. But this is like one of I kind of understand why he was told not to fire Mueller, but I still think he should have fired Mueller because at the end of the day, you have to call a person's bluff. If someone says, "I have these photos of you, I have these videos of you," and it's like, whatever, if somebody wants to extort you, whether they have the photos or not, it's like just, you just have to call their bluff and say, yeah, whatever, go ahead, post it. I don't care. You have to call people's bluff, especially when they're trying to, especially when they try to blackmail you or extort you, or that's why Jeff Bezos is like, oh my God, they're trying to extort me. Big Chris. 70% of the American population liked what Trump had to say. Exactly. Trump is a good president, and it's rich that people who live behind walls judge us. Exactly. Exactly. Big Chris, thank you. I think it was over 70%, like 72%, something like that. 76%. I forgot. But yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant, powerful. I agree with you, Big Chris. I agree with you. It was a brilliant, powerful presidential speech. He was the epitome of presidential, and they couldn't stand it. And Democrats were petulant, like they always are. And that's it. They were just they don't want to see him shine. They don't want to see him benefit in any way, even when he does well. There are 5.1 million new jobs. 5.1 million new jobs. It's like there are 5.1 million new jobs. And it's like over 467,000 new manufacturing jobs. 467,000 manufacturing jobs. And then PolitiFact's like, well, 317,000. Fine. There were 303,000 manufacturing jobs that Obama lost. I'm trying to read this here. So however you look at it, they're like, oh, it's not 500,000. Well, they say half true, whatever. The net gain for over that period is 533,000. So, I'm not even going to try to read this. 467,000 manufacturing jobs. 300,000 lost under Obama. 300,000 lost under President Obama. So there you go. There you go. And it's like the economy is growing 5.1 million jobs in 2 years. And then you had Obama created 8.9 million jobs in 8 years. 8.9 million jobs in 8 years. 8.9 million in 8 years. And 5.1 million in 2 years. And if you look at the recession officially ended in 2009. And his claim to fame, I still have people, he saved us from the depression. No, Bush started the bailouts. Bush started the bailouts. How do we know? Let's just go back into history. Bush signs a financial bailout bill. Hey, look at that. Isn't that funny? When is this? When was this? This is October. So, okay. So Obama wasn't in office. Gotcha. Dave Whalen. Dave Whalen. Hello, Dave Whalen. Great pick, by the way, of Tiger and Trump. Zimu, hello. Dave Whalen. Thank you. Dave Whalen, thank you. So isn't that interesting? How does that work? How does that work? I mean, I thought that it was Obama who saved this country from the next depression. Oh, look, President Bush signed into law Friday a historic $700 billion bailout of the financial services industry, promising to move swiftly to use his sweeping new authority to unlock frozen credit markets to get the economy moving again. Oh, okay. So yet another policy that Obama continued from Bush. That's interesting. That's interesting. Dave Whalen, thank you. So wait a second. So you mean Bush started the bailouts? It's complicated, and we're going to make sure whatever I do a bad George W. I used to do his dad well. We're going to do it. It's complicated, and we're going to make sure whatever we do is done in a deliberate fashion, Bush told reporters after he signed the bill as soon as he got it from the House, which passed the measure after a topsy-turvy week of legislative victories, defeats, and power plays. So there you go. Under the plan, the Department of Treasury would be authorized to spend as much as $700 billion to buy bad mortgage-related securities, which have slowed and in some cases dried up the flow of credit. So he signs bank bailout. President Bush signed $700 billion economic bailout plan. So how much of the recovery goes to Bush? Have you ever thought of that? Since we always want to, like, well, how much of the recovery goes to Bush? And first of all, Bush is the worst president. Okay, one of my wonderful subscribers said, "Well, you never talk about Bush's crimes." Yeah, he was the worst president ever. Yeah, yeah. The two counterinsurgency quagmires and colossal tragedies that he got us into um, were two of the most horrible decisions ever in mankind's history. And guess what? President Trump wants to bring home Americans from these places. So it's like he wants to bring home Americans. Then you have 58% of the new jobs were women. Record low unemployment against black for black and Latino citizens, record lows. And so, how is he a misogynist and also racist? How is Obama not those things and he had an economy that didn't work as well? How, it's like, and then you have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which is she's very interesting. She got into the House with Medicare for all, Medicare for all. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Medicare for all, Medicare for all, Medicare for all. She's constantly saying that we need Medicare for all. What does she do? she then promotes a Green New Deal, but that's not why she. Medicare for all is a bill on the floor of Congress. Great. Why aren't you pushing it? Single payer healthcare, physical, mental, and dental coverage, payment free, so we don't delay. Okay, jobs program, a transition. Okay, great. It's increasingly popular. Great. Why don't you vote for it? Why don't people vote for it? Why don't they push that bill? I don't get it. Could it be that, I don't know, they're lying? Could it be that, they just say whatever sounds good? Medicare for All, HR 676, has been on the floor of Congress since 2003. The bill is 15 years old. Okay. A stream of studies from both left and right have shown both the funding mechanisms and immense cost savings. Okay. Where are these studies? Where are the stream of studies? Because we have the Mercatus study and the Urban Institute that both basically say it's not feasible and you'd have to double the triple tax collection. Almost every modern nation has one. But guess what? Almost every modern nation doesn't have 450,000 Americans soldiers stationed throughout the world in 800 military bases. And why doesn't she say, well, bring Americans home from conflict? That's Trump. That's Trump. So, and not everyone wants, some people like private insurance. What happens to their coverage? Well, that's just, too bad. And initially, what'll happen to the economy? It'll tank. Well, there's no evidence of that. Yeah, there is. You doubled the triple tax collection. How are you going to do that without doubling to tripling tax rates, or at least increasing tax rates to the point of madness. Yeah, it is a moral. If it was feasible, it'd be moral, but it's not feasible when you can't have a max boot foreign policy and Medicare for all and a Green New Deal and abolish ICE. I mean, it's like all of these things that she's proposing, there's no way to get them through. Then there's that one senator that, okay, so she teamed up with a senator, or a senator teamed up with her. Green New Deal. Asia contradicts herself in the role of government. Okay, so Nancy Pelosi just threw some serious shade. So even Pelosi is like, Nancy Pelosi just just threw some serious shade. Oh, wow. You're so awesome, CNN. Ocasio-Cortez Green New Deal. What did she say? This is why the Democratic Party is so dysfunctional. They're not even backing legislation that, like, AOC is backing, and she's not even backing legislation she promised. So Thursday is a big day for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the New York freshman Democrat who has rapidly become one of the biggest stars in her party. Whatever. Will formally introduce her much-touted Green New Deal, a package of legislation aimed at, among other things, addressing the threat posed by climate change. Well, wait a second. You had 8 years of Obama, the largest expansion of oil and gas production in U.S. history. So, okay. It will be one of several or maybe many suggestions that we receive. The Green Dream, or whatever they call it. Nobody knows what it is, but they're for it, right? Okay. So she's not even interested. The Democratic Party uses these buzzwords: climate change, Medicare for all. They use this to deceive idealistic and, noble, like, there are people who are progressives or liberals or people on the left who are actually noble people who always believe, who constantly believe that people in Congress who are Democrats will one day listen to their desires and hopes and dreams. But they forget that every single time they get close, they get cheated or they get ignored. This is only to placate. This is only to say, oh yeah, we're thinking of you and just vote for us. One day you might have this. Eric H526, hello HA, hello everyone, love you all. Have a fantastic Friday and wonderful weekend. I've been testing gaming stuff lately and uploaded new vids. Everyone check out Eric H526's new channel. He is awesome. Thank you, Eric H526. Thank you. It will be one of several or maybe many suggestions that we receive. How is climate change important when if Beto O'Rourke gets more oil and gas money than anyone other than Ted Cruz? So which one is it? It's like she keeps on saying it's your World War II. It's our world. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. Pelosi knows exactly what she's doing here. Her utter dismissiveness of the Green New Deal and, by extension, AOC, who is the member most closely identified, is entirely intentional. Pelosi knows that AOC is a rising national power. Not really. Particularly among most activists and liberal left. That's not even true. That's not even true as well. Given Ocasio-Cortez's profile and her influence among young liberal members, that's also not entirely true. Pelosi knows she can't just ignore what the New York Democrat says and does, but she isn't going to kowtow to AOC either. Well, if 2 years into this, they don't pass any of the major lists. So Eric H526, thank you. If 2 years into this, they don't pass Medicare for all or Green New Deal, if 2 years into this, they don't pass And it's like not everyone wants to drive an electric car. You're going to force everyone in America to drive an electric car by 2000 in 10 years from now. And making the lithium batteries are not environmentally friendly to make. So the carbon footprint is either worse or not that much better. You have to drive at a certain distance. And they're like, well, we debunked the myths behind electric cars. If you just drive at a certain distance, it more than makes up for its the manufacturing, the extra CO2 that they've 74% more CO2 they pump into the air because of lithium batteries. Okay, but which batteries are you talking about? Some of those electric car batteries are a lot more powerful than others. So the studies that debunk the concerns don't state which batteries they're talking about. Is it a battery for like an SUV, an electric SUV, or the battery for a small electric car? Which one are they talking about? And the battery manufacturers are mostly in China and other countries, not the US. Lithium also is not, let's see, environmental effects and health effects. The spiraling environmental cost of our lithium battery addiction. Wow. As the world scrambles to replace fossil fuels, the environmental impact of finding all the lithium required could become a major issue in its own right. Lithium-ion batteries are a crucial component of efforts to clean up the planet. Demand for lithium is increasing exponentially and doubled in price between 2016 and 2018. But there's a problem. As the world scrambles to replace fossil fuels with clean energy, the environmental impact of finding all the lithium required to enable that transformation could become a serious issue in its own right. One of the biggest environmental problems caused by our endless hunger for the latest and smartest devices is a growing mineral crisis, particularly those needed to make our batteries. By the way, Sean, thank you. Great point you made. In South America, the biggest problem is water. The continent's lithium triangle, which covers parts of Argentina, Bolivia, and Chile, holds more than half the world's supply of the metal beneath its otherworldly salt flats. It's also one of the driest places on Earth. That's a real issue because to extract lithium, miners start by drilling a hole in the salt flats and pumping salty, mineral-rich brine to the surface. Then they leave it to evaporate for months at a time, first creating a mixture of manganese, potassium, borax, and lithium salts, which is then filtered and placed into another evaporation pool and so on. And between 12 and 18 months, the mixture has been filtered enough that lithium carbonate, white gold, can be extracted. It uses a lot of water, 500 gallons per ton of lithium. In Chile's mining region, consumes 65% of the region's water. Wow. What a fantastic green. SM. Hi, HA. What do you think about Mueller's 75 reprimands from FISA courts for lying over his career, asking for SM? Yes. Big Chris. What about China? They don't care about pollution. That's true. Well, China, India, other countries that are growing. SM. Big Chris. Thank you. SM. You're right. I actually have a segment on that. And that's why the FBI, if they can bend the rules, they will. You're so right. Thank you very much for your support. SM, thank you very much for your support. That's why I keep on, I mean, SM, your message resonates with me because I always just go back to, for example, 7 email chains concern matters that were classified at top secret special access program intelligence level when they were sent and received. These chains involve Secretary Clinton both sending emails and those matters and receiving emails from others about the same matter. There is evidence to support a conclusion that any reasonable person in Secretary Clinton's position or in the position of those government employees with whom she was corresponding about those matters should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation. And although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is no reasonable prosecutor brings such a case. You just explained in the paragraph before that it's reasonable that a person in her position should have known. So obviously she did it on purpose, because she did. Top secret and special access program intelligence. And then they have deceived FISA courts for a long time just to spy. They love spying. They love to surveil. SM, thank you. And Big Chris, you're right. So just making the batteries, not just manufacturing the batteries, the spiraling environmental cost of our lithium battery addiction. But you can't say this. You can't bring this up because, oh my God, we're going to, climate change 12 years from now. Oh my God. And then, you look at Obama, largest expansion of oil and gas production. So which one is it? Then you look at Beto. My new name is Rico Suave Sanders. If it worked for Beto, it'll work for me. Then you look for Beto O'Rourke. He gets more oil and gas money than anyone in Congress aside from Ted Cruz. So Tesla's new batteries may be harder on the environment than you think. How is lithium mined? Let's see. So if you look at the effects of like Green New Deal, it's like, okay, well, I'm actually all for, if you want to devote the budget, a part of the budget, to research and development regarding, making renewable energy. Because if you want to kind of devote the resources, the energy that was devoted to the Manhattan Project, for example, that found a way, to build nuclear missiles, fine. So you make it feasible to transition, but it's not feasible yet. I'm all for making it feasible to transition to a green economy, because I think that is important. You do want to be a sustainable development in terms of your economy. You just don't want to tank the economy. Where will all the lithium where will all the lithium needed for electric cars be mined? Lithium is a poorly concentrated mineral, so traditional hard rock mining of lithium bearing, okay, it's costly and time-intensive endeavor. How is this so great for the environment? Cobalt mining for lithium-ion batteries has a high human cost. This is the Washington Post. Tracing the path from deadly hand-dug mines in Congo to consumers' phones and laptops. Wow. Wow. Lungs of the Congo. Wow. So it's just, the remote landscape in southern Africa lies at the heart of the world's mad scramble for cheap cobalt, a mineral essential to recharging lithium-ion batteries. So it's not just the lithium, it's the cobalt. The world has grown reliant on lithium-ion batteries that power smartphones. Okay. Lithium-ion batteries are supposed to be different from dirty, toxic technology of the past. But this comes at an exceptional cost. There are children in these mines. Well, what does AOC care? Wow. He also acknowledged the problem with mining-related deaths and pollution. Wow. Companies are unlikely to abandon Congo for a reason. The world needs what the Congo has. Lungs of wow. Cobalt is the most expensive raw material inside a lithium-ion battery. Cobalt demand for lithium-ion batteries is expected to double by 2025. Lithium in Argentina, indigenous peoples are left poor as tech world takes lithium from under their feet. Well, what do Democrats care? You know. Companies are making billions in lithium mining, but these indigenous people are being left out. But what do Democrats care? They don't care. What do they care? You just do a modicum of research, just a little bit of research, lithium and cobalt and all. It's like that's not. And this is the thing: if we had the technology to use renewable energy or clean energy, great. Let's get that technology first, so you don't tank the entire economy. You are going to obliterate the U.S. car industry, which, well, how many hundreds of thousands of people are employed? Hundreds of thousands of people. What millions when you think about mechanics. So let's see. Hold on. Lithium waste water. So the rise of electric cars could leave us with a big battery waste problem. So the value of the raw materials that can be reclaimed is only a third of that. The dangers of lithium batteries and why they don't belong in your trash. Okay. Lane County is warning residents about the danger of throwing lithium batteries in the trash, which, as they become more popular, have become a problem for landfills. They're prone to explode or start a fire. Interesting. What an amazing Green New Deal. Just like the New Deal, except with lithium and cobalt. Everything they do makes no, like almost everything they do makes no sense, from the Russia probe to this Green New Deal. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, my friend. I don't know. It's just, it's like Port Film Co-op. Thank you. Thank you. Looking at this film director here. Made Christian art film Soviet officially atheist regime. Very cool. Port Film Co-op. Thank you. Thank you. So, really quickly. So, hold on. AOC lithium. AOC Green New Deal starts strong. And then so let's see what she wants. Electric really quickly. So AOC electric cars. Yahoo. The Green New Deal is a monstrosity. It's bad. The reason I'm laughing is not so much. It's just the same media that tries to take down Trump has actually more info to take down the policies of AOC because they're not thought out. They're just like, well, first of all, there is no Medicare for all, by the way, that she's pushing. Where's the bill she's pushing? Where's the bill that she wrote? Where's the legislation she's pushing or the legislation she drafted, co-sponsored? None, nothing. Bupkis, nothing. So why is it a monstrosity? Oh, wow. Today, only about 37% of all U.S. electricity comes from renewable or nuclear power. Fossil fuels still provide 63% of America's power. We'd have to make outstanding progress in 10 years. It's not feasible. It's not feasible. But it's really the manufacturing plants. How are you going to... The power plants run mostly on fossil fuels. So power plants, how are you going to make power plants green? That's the issue, because you'd have to power your electric car and power plants that are run by fossil fuels. Then you have the lithium problem. Then you have the CO2 problem. Then you have the economic issues in countries like Argentina or Bolivia or the Congo that have all these cobalt. Congo electric car. I mean, what's taking place in Africa because of all these minerals and companies that want these minerals, like, horrendous. Cobalt, the Achilles heel for electric car makers. So, thank you, SM. Thank you. Glencore, the world's biggest producer of cobalt, has been in talks with Volkswagen and Tesla about supplies of the metal. You have children also, it said, one of these articles, the Washington Post said. Child labor. Blood batteries. Cobalt in the Congo. Blood batteries. You heard of blood diamonds? So, our tech revolution needs new battery technology and various other applications whose special characteristics require relatively rare metals like lithium and cobalt. Cobalt provides a stability and high energy density that allows batteries to operate safely and for longer periods. In 2016, Amnesty International issued a blistering report naming more than a dozen electronics and automotive companies that had failed to ensure their cobalt supply chains didn't include child labor at the types of mines. Thanks, Democrats. Thanks a lot. It's like when these Democrats in 2016, an Amnesty International issued a blistering report naming more than a 24 electronics and automotive companies that had failed to ensure their cobalt supply chains didn't include child labor. Okay. Exposed child labor behind smartphones and electric car batteries. Yeah, this is amazing. Wow, what a great plan from Democrats. Bud Drake. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Share this segment. Hit subscribe, by the way. Definitely check out my Second Amendment channel, ladies and gentlemen. My Second Amendment channel is right here. I enjoyed safely and responsibly a Ruger Blackhawk. It was a .45 Colt revolver. Actually reached out to CNN and MSNBC producers I know there. That when I was on there, and I said, "Hey, if you need somebody to defend President Trump, let me know." So here's my Second Amendment channel. It's right here, and below in the comment section, you will see my latest op-ed in the Jerusalem Post: Why Democrats Embrace Anti-Semitism and Anti-Israel Bias. That is below. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. God bless. To the people watching in other countries, in the UK, in Ireland, in South Korea, everywhere in the world. France, thank you so very much. Nepal, Italy, Spain, thank you. God bless. India, thank you. Pakistan, thank you. I will see you tomorrow or today.